Hello and welcome. Today we are going to be talking about some of the advanced potion making books that I have. And if you go back to some of our early videos, you'll be able to see when we did the potions shelf at the very beginning, we actually show the first advanced potion making book that I ever had in my collection. And then just recently, I also got a copy of it in a Temu haul. And I already had planned to make a comparison video, but I was also asked from one of our longtime subscribers to make a video comparing the two. And so absolutely, anytime you guys want to see any kind of videos that are comparisons or reviewing a product or anything, please leave a comment and let me know. If it's not already in the books, I will definitely try to make it happen. So today we're going to be comparing those two books. So we have the advanced potion making book that I actually got from Amazon, which was my very first one. And I knew I wanted a real book and not one that was just like, I know Mina Lima and many other people are making the advanced potion making books, but they're actually like little just blank pages on the inside. They're like journals. And I knew I didn't want that in my collection because I want a real book. I didn't just want one that the pages were blank, that if somebody were to open it up, they would go, well, that's boring. Yes, you could always turn that blank book into your own advanced potion making book. You could definitely do it up and do it up very cool. Making up your own ingredients and making up your own potions, making up your own graphics and stuff. That would be amazing, and maybe one day we'll do one of those videos. But I wanted one that looked authentic, and so this was the first one that I got. Like I said, this one came from Amazon, and it's from Merge Books, and it's done by Jamina Blasco. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing the name wrong, but this was the first one that I received. And if you look at the sides, it just looks like a plain book, just a regular normal book. The inside is very clean and crisp. It does have the writings on the pages, so I did want that. It definitely has a contents, and some of the books, mainly the screen used books, just had like a few pages that were actually utilized in the book, and the rest of them I think were blank if I remember correctly. But this one actually has content and like an introduction. It has information about alchemy. There's information about Nicholas Flamel in here. It has little parts and pieces that look like it's got little staining and stuff on it. There are some of the like symbols and the different people, like I said, Nicholas Flamel and the Philosopher's Stone, all that. But then as you get in here, you can definitely see there's like more writing and stuff on several of the pages, and there are images. There are parts about like equipment and ingredients, and then there's potions or spells. So you can see there's a lot of stuff in here about the writing, like notes that the person wrote to have notes in here for each one of the things that they were working on at the time, or something that they were getting ready to do. But I knew when I got this that this was a lot like what I wanted. I really wanted something like this in my collection, and I didn't know the full extent of the book until after I received it, and I realized I had picked a great one for my collection. This really gave the details and information that I wanted it to have, for if anyone were to pick this up and look at it, that they would be able to get from it. The only issues that I have with this book in theory are it doesn't have quite as many like graphics pieces that I would like for it to have. It has quite a few, don't get me wrong, but it's not quite as graphic and like tables and things like that like I would like for it to have. I don't think there's very many images of like the creatures or anything like that in it. I can't remember for sure. It's been a while since I've looked at this one on the inside, but there's not quite as much in here as I would like for it to have. And my biggest complaint is every page has the same symbols on the side. You can see it as you look down the spine that these are the exact same images all the way through, and I would like for them to have more. Also, on the front and the back, the pages are just stark white. This to me does not say that this book was used by anyone, and I really want it to look like it did in the film. Like, I want it to look like it's got a pattern in the front and a pattern in the back, and you know, real staining. Like, the pages are just too stark white for me. So then I had one of my subscribers to mention that there was one on Temu and that they were thinking about getting it. So I had to jump on board and get it in with one of my orders, and I did. So this is the one that came in, and it again is one of the realistic books. Like it has so much in here, and I truly do love the look of this book. So the two differences are this one, again, stark white on the front and back, but the actual pages are very stained up and have written information in there. It has a lot more, like there's these little images that they've drawn, and there's stuff all on the inside of each one of these pages. Each page in this looks well worn. Like the coloring of the page, the way that they look like they are like burnt and stuff like that, that is the way that this one came in. So I'm very, very much thinking this one looks a lot more like a book that someone has used, and definitely fits more of what I was looking for. There's a lot more images in this one. There's a lot more detail in this one. There's a lot more of like, see, the tables and stuff like that. Like this is the kind of stuff I was looking for in my first one that I wasn't seeing. And there's so much in this that's not in the other one. Now, that being said, again, this one has a stark white front and back, and that just does not fit the aesthetics of what I wanted it to look like. Now, when you compare the two side by side, the one from Amazon is a lot bigger. The cover looks a lot more like an old book, and it's definitely a little bit different, as you can see. They're both by Merge Books, but this one is, I'm not even sure who did this one, to be honest. It doesn't have a person's name on it. It just looks like they took the book from the person that did the other one and then did this one. Now this one does have like rope binding in it, if you can see in between these pages right here. There's like a little rope binding, and the other one doesn't really have that. So you can see where each one of these sections is sewn in, which makes it a little more older looking to me, and I like that. So I do feel like this book may not be put together quite as well as the first one, because the first one is definitely glued in. The seams are a little bit different when you compare the two. You can tell that this one looks like it's going to be hang on longer than maybe this one will. But when you think about it as being an old book, I definitely think the sewn in look is better. Now, my thoughts on these. I wish this one looked like this one. If this one had the interior that this one has, this would be a #1 go-to, in my opinion. Now, you can definitely get one that is a lot more expensive, that's been handmade by some people that put it together to make it identical to the one on screen. But just thinking like in reality of what people can afford, the normal person in the world, something like these would be your better choice. So for a replica, these are going to be your cheaper options. Now, my thoughts on them are, I am thinking about doing a DIY with these books. I don't know if it's a good idea or not, but I really want these to look old and authentic. So I plan to get some paper to be able to put on the interior of these that look like an old inside of a front cover or back cover of a book. And then we were talking about possibly tea staining or something on these pages to where they will look more authentic. So that being said, I also am thinking about doing some tables, like hand-drawn tables and stuff in these pages to where they look more like this one. So I do plan to have a DIY coming up to where we actually take the books and change them. Now, on the one that we got from Temu that already has all of this, I'm planning on just changing the front pages and the back pages. Okay, and then I'm gonna put that on the shelf with my MGA Miniverse Potions class and my little potions that we've done. And then this one, my original book, is going to go back onto my original potions shelf. So I will have two in my collection, but they both will, each one of those shelves deserve to have a potion making book, I believe, in my opinion. So hopefully we don't end up messing these up and they just end up being better. But yeah, so that's the comparison to these. If you are crafty and you would like to get the best book for your buck, Then the Temu one was cheaper. And then this one from Amazon was more expensive. But again, you're looking at the cover, looking at the size, you have to decide like which one is better for your collection, which one's better for your shelving, which one will fit better for you, and then decide like what you want to do with it. But I think they're both great copies. I would be happy with either one of them in my collection. I'm actually happy with both of them in my collection. But yeah, so if you have any thoughts about the DIY that's going to be coming up, on what you recommend, or if you've seen something that you think would be great for the front cover and the back cover, if you have an idea on actually staining of the pages, please make sure you leave a comment below. And with that being said, have a wonderful day, and remember, we love you.